Okay, first of all, big up to everyone in the chat beforehand, and also big up to Hanno for suggesting we do this stream. Once again, the beautiful game, racism rears its ugly head. And it's just one of those things, really, which will make you realize that we do have a serious problem. It doesn't look like going away anytime soon. And obviously, for Hanno to do this, it's something which affects him in some ways as a Chelsea fan, and also something which will certainly stir up a lot of heated arguments and passions among a lot of us who can't stand seeing racism in our beautiful game. And we all agree that more and more has to be done. And yet we keep saying the same thing again and again and again, hear it every single time, but hope and history seldom rhymes. So what's it worth, as you two famously sang? In any case, here we are. Time to start the debate. This is, once again, the Coach's Corner. And as always, you are all welcome. Yes, people, welcome once again to the channel, and the title says it all. Racism once again rears its ugly head. The Enzo Fernandez controversy. And you just think that for a guy like him, who was the best young player at the World Cup in 2002, hasn't had the best first season at Chelsea, but you'd think that he'd get a little bit better. Then he goes and does something like this, opens up a can of worms. And the sad part is, as we will find out later, we see a large number of Enzo's countrymen, even his country's own vice president, standing up to defend him. Obviously, I want to wait for Hanno to make sure he comes on the stream and is ready to come on so that he can pretty much introduce the topic. But I want to say big up to all of you who have come into the chat with some of your comments ready. And clearly, we've got Moss Sports World coming in. Some channel called 666. And obviously, a Chelsea supporting South African fan. As soon as he comes on, you'll hear what he has to say. And obviously, as a Canada fan, a fan of the Canadian national team, Chris Mossing did call out the racism and talked about how Argentina were more of the favourites for the tournament, not a peep from anyone. Obviously, Argentina were the defending Copa and World Cup winners. But a lot of the attention at the time was focused on the quality of the pitch, which was pretty substandard, it has to be said. And of course, a lot of those things took a backseat. And then you heard all the chants calling the the Black Canadians, all kinds of stuff, trashing their social media accounts. Argentina does have a problem. We've got Melina in the building. Hello to you. Honeygun, Harry, wonderful to see you, mate. As always, Chelsea fan, our biggest supporter and benefactor. Another reminder to hit the like and subscribe button. A bit of a typo there. Please excuse us, everyone. And we also got Steve Jenkins coming in saying, of course, Mr. B, this chat should be a great discussion. This guy stepped over the line. And Hanno, would it be okay if Steve came on later? What? Can't hear you.
So muted. Yeah, everyone. Lots of everybody's basically in the chat. Yeah, that's not a problem, man. That's not a problem. I'll send him the link now.
Yeah, and Chelsea saying Enzo shouldn't be the only person getting the blame. Some of the other players were singing it too, just as bad. And look, Hanno is here. And racism does need to be called out every time. Don Cherry of South Africa. More tattoos than brains. And clearly, Chris Mossing had a lot to say, but I thought it would be nice if you introduced the topic. So that was why I was waiting for you. Good to see you again.
Yeah, so if you have been living on the rock and you have not seen this, then yeah, so basically, on Sunday, if you live on the America side of the world, um, but mostly Monday for most people. Um, Argentina won the Copa America. Then on the bus, um, on the way, it was uh, Enzo Fernandez, of course, is holding the brunt of it all. But I think we have to also say that most of that Argentina bus was singing it. Um, so yeah, um, um, yeah, of course that happened. That reached the media. Everybody's seen it. Then just absolutely bonkers. Chelsea players unfolding Enzo, coming out on social media, saying stuff to Enzo. Um, so yeah, loads of stuff happened, and it is the way it is, unfortunately. But we are yet to dissect it. Of course, we all know Enzo Fernandez and all Argentina team bus is wrong. We know that. What they said, if you look at the thumbnail, I put up the old lyrics. I'm not gonna say that. So it's a bit mad to say that. Um, so it's the whole nation as well. It is the whole nation. Um, it is the whole nation that is very true, Moss. Um, and if you just look at the players that Argentina have, um, compared to the rest of South America in terms of skin color, um, and the names like Lino Messi, Italian name, um, Di Maria, Italian name. Um, so it's almost like Argentina are still. It's like they are uh, a European country, or they want to be a European country. Look at the players, um, stuff like that, because that is not excuse to say Enzo Fernandez, but he it was growing up all his life in Argentina in that environment. Um, so it came into his head, and then he was at Benfica for 6 months. Um, um, then yeah, 6 months, came over to England. Um, how long has he been here now? When did we sign Enzo? Um, just check. Uh, ch- Chelsea contract. So when did we sign him? Mm, January January 2023. So about a year and 6 months he's been in the country. Outside of Argentina, of course. So yeah. So yeah. That is basically also, yeah. Martinelli. Yeah, like this is not a good, like, it's a touchy subject, and especially to say that. But if you just look at it, that's basically the thing where it comes down. Um, yeah, um, yeah, it is. It is. Argentina did it at the World Cup too. Yeah, with the whole Emi Martinez thing, and then with when they did the trophy thing with the Mbappe doll, that as well. So now I think it's definitely a thing drilled into them, but yeah, of course we'll get into the quotes of of the guys, but that's like I I Argentina don't even think they were in the wrong. That's the crazy thing here. I think that is something we have to comprehend here. Like we can say everything we want about Enzo and how bad he is and the whole Argentina thing, but the fact that they aren't even like admitting it. If you look at the vice president's quotes, let me just get the picture up where I had it. Um, she basically said, "No colonialist country is going to intimidate us for a football song." So colonialist country. So they basically saying,
Colonialist.
yeah, okay, that's the word. Yeah, thanks for. So they so Argentina still think France are just like an offspring of Africans. She's mad. Um, or song, or for telling the truths that they don't want to admit. Stop finding, I don't know, that is a mad word. But yeah, just calling them hypocrites. I'm with you, Enzo. Um, yeah, and then also the apology from Enzo. Yeah, like I'm glad he put out an apology, but it feels scripted. Like he's saying, "I want to apologize sincerely for a video posted on my Instagram channel during the national team celebrations. The song includes highly offensive language, and there is absolutely no excuse for these words. I stand against discrimination in all forms and apologize for getting caught up in the furor of our Copa America celebrations." Like, that's not an apology. That's like a speech. Like, that's literally a speech saying, that's a speech. Biak Melina, Biak Peruan. Yeah, Enzo's dad said also something. Oh, I know what he said. I got it as well. Um, where is it? I took a screenshot of it. Sure, I took it. No, I didn't take it. But his dad also said something about like if um in 2014 they said stuff about Messi's height. Yeah, you go. Enzo Fernandez dad, Raul Fernandez. 2014 when Germany beat us, they intimidated our you know not intimidated. Imitated how something walks. I don't know. Wait, best is I send it to you, man, because then you pronounce it because I can't speak this. High English, yeah, I can speak English, but high English. No. Check your Instagram quickly, man.
Yeah.
You'll
I
be
just got it. Just got it. Apparently, one of our mutual friends, Latimus Prime, has sent this thing, and I'm going to try and take a look at it right now. And oh yeah, Enzo Fernandez's dad, Raul Fernandez. So apparently, he said. Yeah, the president. Yeah, the vice president's statement was disgusting of that, and can't seem to. Oh
Moses,
yeah, got it. It's at the very. It's at the very end. In
yeah.
2014, when Germany beat us, they imitated how gauchos walk and called us ignorant. In 2018, France mocked Messi for his height. we never came out to say we were being discriminated against. Weak argument, to be honest, really.
Absolutely. This is a very, very tough job for Maresca now. I should actually check. Let me check Enzo Fernandez following. They have followed him back. And so
Wow, that was quick.
let's check. They yes, okay, they have followed them back. They have followed them back. So let's see. Said this stuff so rears its ugly head over and over again. In racism, circle words. Ban Argentina, then they will take it seriously. You're right. They doubled down in Argentina again and against the rest of the world. Canada, the true diversity, and look at how us dominate sports with such a small population. Well, Canada are doing better in sports, so yeah. Just want to also read some of the previous comments.
Yeah,
Of
I
be
did
up
read
to
some of.
yeah
I did
yeah.
actually go through some of them while you were, and yeah, let me just deal with one
Okay.
particular.
Mm, everyone would have been fine. The Argentina racism, except Enzo, video that that's the only reason why. So saying Argentina need to be in trouble for their fans already.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. FIFA needs to show they really mean stamping out racism. Let me just check that. Seriously Pies, yep, Seriously Pies, absolute legend when it comes to like reporting news on the Chelsea side. Go follow him if you want to stay up to date with us. FIFA is looking at the video. Maybe it gets one game ban at max. I doubt they would do more. FA more powerful than FIFA. Yeah. I will check if I can see that actually because just ain't working on the laptop today for some reason. Let me check. I have notifications on luckily for him. So yeah, by Reuters. So yeah, they are investigating it. So yeah, but so I'm just gonna have like closing say and then Manny and Steve. Be up, Steve, um, for joining as well.
Yeah,
Um,
be up, gents.
uh,
Are we all
so
right?
yeah, man, all right. I'm all right.
Cool.
So my thing is, yeah, the whole bus should be stopped. Like every people, every person there in Argentina team should be fined, should be banned. Um, and that's my thing. And then also, you, I want to say, like, I think the likes of Di Maria, Messi, and them, like the guys that have played now longer outside of Argentina, they know this. Like they know. Of course, Rodrigo de Paul, he also came up with a mad thing. What was it? What is it? Saying that I think if any of Enzo's teammates feel offended the way to call him not posted on social media, they don't really analyze the stadium chant. It's more about teasing. But I understand that people who have suffered from racism might not like it. But I think if any of Enzo's teammates feel offended, the way is to call him not posted on social media. Messi will not on bus. Okay, fair. I think there's malice in this. They are trying to make it something it's not. It's very strange, like kicking someone when they are down. Unfollowing him seems pointless to me. You can call him and say this is not okay. Why don't you post a message apologizing? The issue ends there. No need to make a big fuss. So even Rodrigo de Paul, who's played many international tournaments, um, is a player. He's playing for Atletico. He's 30 years old, playing for Atletico. Don't know where else has he been, except Atletico. But yeah, he's been. Yeah, he even was at Valencia. So yeah, everyone should be, and there has to be a real education for these players, especially the Argentina players, because, like I said before, if you look at the whole of South America, I'm just gonna put up. This is my thing. This is my thing. So they have to take action, educate these guys, because the education they get skyrocket. Like that will help them. Um. So yeah, and I think if France saying that to the Argentinians, oh my day, then then you don't mess with Argentinians. I think if you look, you don't mess with them, because if they get a hold of you, you're dead. So yeah, if it was the other way around, oh, Argentina would have blown this thing out of proportion like mad. So um yeah, like, he's a decent player. He's a decent player. But he's Iman Martinez. But good players just what do you call it? What's the word? They like to annoy you. They like to annoy, get under your skin.
Which Martinez
Yeah.
are you talking about? Lissandro, Lautaro, or Emi?
Emmy. But I've had my say. Manny, Steve, your guys.
Yeah, well, I think I'm going to sort of start by saying big up to Northside LDN, because he actually did a stream on this yesterday on his channel, talking about the entire issue and how important education is, and how he's had it on both sides of the coin. There are some things you just don't really say, and some things which can be taken with a very negative connotation. We've heard this before. Many football fans, of course, will remember, with a different nationality this time, Uruguay, a certain Luis Suarez, that the absolute cheat who denied Ghana a well-deserved World Cup semi-final in 2010, and that racist idiot who abused Patrice Evra, and also trying to take a bite out of Branislav Ivanovic and Giorgio Chiellini. Maybe he thought Chiellini was a chili tortellini or whatever. He defended his own words after abusing Evra, saying calling someone negrito is a term of endearment. It's a little bit like when in Canada, of course, given that we've got Chris and Mel in the building, you call people a hoser. It can be either a derogatory term if you absolutely don't like the person, but if you do, it's exceptionally endearing. However, there are some terms which have pretty poor meanings and which can be easily misconstrued in a certain way. And so instead of having to, educate us on your terminology and why you think it's okay for you, but not for us. You have to learn to try to get along. And that's not, promoting totalitarianism. It's about being understanding and accepting, that you're a part of you're just one person who has to live in this world. And there are so many other people who have to live in it. And apparently Moss saying, well, that word is hardly ever used anymore. It's from a different time. But there are some people who still kind of use it every now and then. So you have, I appreciate your argument there. But there are some words that you just can't say. And Northside, in fact, told the story about how he was, meeting his girlfriend's mum, taking a look at photos, and he uttered a word which he meant to say, "Your daughter is an absolute beauty," but in reality, the choice of word that was used was something very derogatory. And his girlfriend happens to be South American too, half Colombian, half Peruvian. So again, you can say that what he said was, you can say you don't mean to use that terminology, but if you respect people, you have to be willing to educate yourself and try and come down to their level and say and go and see their side of everything and say and understand why that word is not okay. And you can't and you don't make that same mistake again, and you have to be willing to educate yourself. Now, the chance that the Argentinian players made against the French in 2022 after they won the World Cup, we have to consider that there is some context here to this. Obviously, Mbappe had the temerity to run his mouth by saying that South African football teams and South American football is not really of a top quality compared to European football. And of course, this is the same person who saw it fit, and Steve will remember this very well, to, make that ridiculous face after Harry Kane missed his penalty against France in that World Cup quarterfinal. So Mbappe has a tendency to have a bit of a bad attitude himself. And we did see, after the match, Martinez going over to console Mbappe. And then, of course, we all know what he did with the trophy, which was very distasteful. And then, of course, in the dressing room, they were all singing a chant, which translated into English was 1 minute of silence for Kylian Mbappe, who is dead. And then, of course, when they got back to Argentina, there was that whole parade with the doll. We never really saw too much of that footage, so maybe we can conclude that there wasn't any real racist connotations there. But Fernandez knew that when he was singing this song, and I don't know if it was the same song they sung in the dressing room that day in Qatar. I'd hate to think it was. If it was sung with those sort of disgusting connotations, and Fernandez knew that it was offensive, why would you sing it? You say that it's bad, and you do it anyway. What does that, say about you as a person? And, and this is another thing which Chris brings up. Apparently, he says that Messi had to stop his teammates singing those chants to Brazil before. The problem is Enzo loved it. He wanted to video and thought nothing wrong. And that's all the more disappointing because Messi's supposed to be the heartbeat of the team, the captain supreme, skipper supreme, the one for whom people like Emi Martinez would lay down his life. So if he tells them to stop, they should have listened to him. And that's all the more disappointing. And Messi, of course, better than anyone else, even the likes of Di Maria, will know well about all of this, having played for several years with Barcelona, alongside people like Ousmane Dembele and several others. Eric Abidal, for example. And so he'll know all about that and say, you know what, if this thing gets out, we're all going to be in soup. And there are, of course, some conflicting reports about how many people actually were singing that song and how many people were actually on the bus. A lot of people were saying that in addition to Messi, the likes of Emi Martinez, Alexis McAllister, and Nicolas Otamendi and Julian Alvarez and maybe another person weren't on the bus that day. And then we're seeing some photos which prove that they were on the bus. We still don't know whether they were actually singing that particular song. So, again, we have to wait for all the facts to come out before we can judge. And yet we have some idiot on Twitter and I don't really want to mention his name because he's not worth my time, saying this is why Mikel Arteta got rid of Emi Martinez, and I'm so proud of Arteta for doing the right thing. And I, put him in his place and told him, shut your mouth. You don't know anything about this. You don't know that Arteta wasn't as bad a racist in his in his own footballing career. So it's just completely disappointing the whole way around, and certainly with Di Maria having retired from Argentina, and certainly the likes of Messi and Otamendi also coming to the end, the likes of Emi Martinez and others will have big roles to play as leaders in the team. And they're also going to be, Martinez in particular will be playing in the Champions League with Aston Villa. If Villa get drawn against Real Madrid, oh boy, the sparks are going to fly. But as you get older, you have to start evolving. You have to start improving yourself and saying, you know what, I may have been a bit of an idiot while I was younger, but now I have to show a bit more restraint. And I credit Emi for not repeating those ridiculous antics in Qatar when he got the Golden Glove Award. Instead, he just held the trophy to his lips and kissed it. Proof in some ways that even he can evolve in a way. But it's still a very disappointing thing, and I think there has to be a lot of soul-searching, and certainly the backlash has to be strong. And supportive words from the vice president and other members, won't help. And especially with Enzo Fernandez's dad, Raul, saying, well, the French did it to us and the Germans did it to us. So all we're doing is fighting back. I mean, you already got your revenge against France by beating them in the Copa America. And Germany have been a pale shadow of the team that won in 2014 anyway. So why do you see the need to further, kick them when they're down? And neither France nor Germany were even playing in the Copa. So, as Oasis would say, you got what you need. You've won your trophy. Now be on your way and quit singing your lungs out almost. And the fact that they see it fit to do that, I think they're besmirching their team and they're besmirching their country. Uruguayans are definitely no better. They worship Luis Suarez like a god. And, this is a problem that South America really has to, get to grips with. And you have to give credit to countries like Colombia and Brazil who make it clear that racism isn't okay. And as others have mentioned, they do have some players of a different color, of a darker skin color, playing for their team. So it is important to embrace that form of diversity. Making fun of the players, playing for France despite his origin is not really the way to go. And in addition, there were some even worse remarks made about Mbappe and his private life, which I certainly don't condone. So there has to be a bit of a climb down. There has to be a bit of a climb down. And Moss basically saying it was the Canadian French-speaking black players who were giving them a tough time, and Ismail Kone kept them quiet and off to Marseille now, and basically giving them a tough time. I think, with all due respect, Chris, Canada did play well, but the record shows that the record between them in the tournament was played 2, lost 2, scored 0, conceded 4 for Canada. So, yeah, they were trying their best, but the pitches also didn't really help. And I think we also have to accept that in the final, the semi-final when they played, Argentina were the better team and also worthy. But some of the behavior of the players, I agree, was completely out of order. Now I've said my piece. Steve, is there anything that you'd like to add?
Yeah, well, I pretty much agree with what both you lads have just said. And, once you say this sort of thing, it can't be taken back again. Once words are said, what can you do? And then, really, at the end of the day, if he knew what it meant and what he was saying, why did he say it? As you already mentioned that, Manny. Why? You play with black players in your career. You're playing with them at Chelsea. Why mention this? Why should you say this? Why should you be singing this? And I think he should be punished, as should the rest of them that sung it. And I don't think, a fine is good enough, because most of these players earn so much money, it's nothing to them. It's like water off a duck's back, really. It won't matter to them too much. you have to sort of ban them for a while, I would say, from football. I mean, that's the only way, because it's their livelihood. You know, that's their career. They're playing football, and that's what they love to do, and that's why they make their money. And at the end of the day, if they can't play that is pretty bad for them. So they should be punished that way. And I mean, you know, this has been going on for years. Racism has been going on for loads of years. It's not just recent. You know, you go back to the 70s and, you know, 80s and probably even before the 70s, to be honest, it was happening. But, you know, you had people like John Barnes, and I'm sure you'll remember this, Manny, when he played at Wembley and they were throwing bananas on and monkey chants and everything like that. Totally disgusting, you know. You know, a player of colour, and he's playing for your country. He's actually playing for you, and you're doing this to him. It's horrible. And you know, thing with Danny Rose as well. I'm sure we all remember that when he was playing for England, and they actually walked off, which I commend them for doing. They walked off and they sort of stopped the game, which is the right thing to do. You know, they all walked off together. They backed Danny, and they said, "Oh look, you know, they're doing this to him, and he's our teammate. We're playing with him, and he you know, he's playing with us. His skin colour doesn't matter," which it doesn't. And that was sort of like in the European nation. I don't know whether it's Russia or something. I don't know if either of you can remember. Maybe Poland or something like that. But, you know, it shouldn't be accepted anymore. Those days are gone. We're not in a Stone Age anymore. We're in 2024. And there's so much diversity in the game now. And, you know, there's so many people of different, you know, skin colour and nationalities and everything like that. So, you know, you know, they shouldn't be accepted anymore. I remember the thing with Vinicius Junior in March. He was getting racist chants, and he kept saying, "Oh no, I found it really difficult now to play football anymore. I can't play football because I'm getting, you know, racist chants." And I really felt for him. You know, it was horrible, and he was really, really upset. And you know, of course they are. Of course he will be. I mean, it's the thing with Saka as well. From I think the Euros, was it Euro 2020, and all that, when he missed the penalty and things like that. It's sickening, and you know, it shouldn't be accepted anymore. But the thing is, it's still going on, and I'd like to see more done about it. I'd like to see it stamped down on. But I don't know how it's going to happen. I really wish I could, you know, do something about this and make a suggestion. But will it ever happen? I'd like to see it when it does, but I don't know when it's going to happen. Maybe not in our lifetimes. But that's all I've got to say, guys.
Exactly. And you know, Hanno, obviously Chris Mossing has made it crystal clear that he wants to see, you know, Argentina really summarily punished. And of course, around about this time, FIFA is supposed to be voting on whether or not Israel should continue to play international football, given its current, you know, the atrocities that are taking place in Gaza and the West Bank being carried out, of course. And no, I haven't forgotten about the 7th of October event that was absolutely horrible. It was absolutely uncalled for. My prayers are with, you know, the hostages, alive or departed, and their families. But the response from Israel and the way they've gone about it has been absolutely horrible. And you know, there is talk about whether or not Israel should be allowed to continue playing international sport. Israel will probably end up going to the Olympics anyway, but FIFA still have to vote on it. And my guess is that FIFA won't vote on Israel, vote against Israel continuing to play. In all likelihood, if they were to suddenly, you give Argentina a ban, then it would possibly shake things up a little bit. But you've already seen the people doubling down, and the fact that they've got this mini Trumpkin as president, Javier Milei, whose vice president saw it fit to tweet out that rubbish, it doesn't help matters either. It's going down that right-wing populist direction. So in all likelihood, they're going to sort of do a type of siege mentality, us against the world. And they could, a ban could work. Maybe it could. I just don't know if the prospect of depriving the world of seeing the likes of Lionel Messi and others would necessarily be what FIFA would want, because for them it might be all about the Benjamins. But this is something that can be discussed. Hannah, what would you think about it? Would a ban work? And obviously you'll know that South Africa were, of course, banned from playing international sport for a very long period. Although you weren't alive then, you'll know about the history. You're muted. Hanno, you're muted.
You're muted, mate.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, no, I know about the history and why we were banned, and I think Argentina, they should probably receive some sort of ban as well. Probably, I would say, 8-game ban for 10-game ban for the players, and on international level, give them a ban as well. So, and also educate these players. I know in rugby, they have this thing. If a person like gets a red card or for a tackle or something, for how many ever weeks, like let's say they can't play rugby for 3 weeks, or let's say 5 weeks. They ban for 5 weeks. Or 5 games. Then in that time period, they have to, I think it's a 3-week course, basically tackling school. And this could be something that could be brought in here if there is racism from the players. Ban them, and then they are educated, because that's a big thing. These Argentinian players need to be educated. So yeah,
Yeah, and of course the biggest problem though is that if you were to ban Argentina, it would come at a huge cost to them in terms of potentially affecting their World Cup qualification. They also might end up missing out on defending the Franchi Trophy. And how could this possibly affect them? It will remain to be seen. Personally, again, we also need to make sure that we have the full list of the players who were on the bus singing and those who weren't. And again, even if you were on the bus, unless you were actually singing and taking part in it and enjoying it, you can't necessarily say that you were culpable. Having said that, some of the senior players on the bus should very well have said, knock it off, this isn't okay. And yet, it seems to be so ingrained. There was even a case not too long ago when Jamaica were invited to play in the Copa America. Edson Cavani, who happens to be a Uruguayan from the country of Luis Suarez, said we have to be very careful with these African teams. They're very strong and they're very muscular, but they don't have that much in terms of technicality. First of all, Jamaica are a Caribbean team. We all know that. Yeah. So it's not even just, blatant racism. It's blatant stupidity and a lack of any kind of education. In the mind of some South Africans, if you're black, you effectively, are from, you're an African. They don't recognize Caribbean people. And that makes it all the more disgusting. For those sort of comments, you would think that, Cavani would have received a ban if FIFA was serious enough. And yet we just know that they'll find a way to sweep this under the carpet. The fact that those Chelsea players have followed Enzo back, I don't know what would have gone on. Maybe Maresca would have spoken to them and said, stop this nonsense, stop this, all of this. I'll deal with this when you all get back and we'll all address everything. But Steve, let me come to you now. Would a ban work?
I suppose the thing is, you're kind of, in that regard, punishing the people that were innocent, Manny. That is the problem, isn't it?
Exactly.
Because obviously
I'm glad you said
not
that.
everyone was doing this. There are only certain few players. I mean, we don't know exactly what went on in there. We're only getting...
Steve, sorry to interrupt you, but there's
Yeah.
just come out quotes from Alexis McAllister on the chance. Sorry to interrupt you there.
No, that's fine. It's all right, mate.
You have to be careful of what you say or do, especially in Europe, where
Yeah.
they are much more sensitive than here. The
Yeah.
reality is that we are not racist. We're not a racist country. We are used to talking about racism so much. Yes, it's a very important topic, and obviously Enzo has apologized and explained what happened. I know. I don't think there's much more to say. We know Enzo. We know he would never do it with bad intentions. He's not that guy. He's not racist.
Mm.
But then
Um,
that's gaslighting. But Steve, let me ask you again about the ban. And I love the point you made about punishing the innocent people. Go on, mate.
yeah, because that is the thing. We don't know. I mean, there's only a certain few that have obviously sung this. I mean, some might have, didn't like it. What they obviously knew what it meant, and they probably decided, no, we don't want to sing this because it's not right. And then, as you say, they should have told them to stop singing it. They should have piped up and said, "Look, this is not right, guys. Can we knock this off and stop singing this? Because it's offensive. It's offending, people of colour." And the thing is, they had no black players on there, had they? Argentina. There's no actual black players in their team, and they obviously think this is all right to do and sing because at the end of the day, they think it's a term of endearment, which you've already mentioned, Manny. I know, and it's not. It's never has been. It's not right. You should not say it. It's a horrible thing. And but I think the only good thing about the ban, it does sort of, it does give an example. It makes an example of them, and hopefully it should be a deterrent to stop it happening again. But I mean, we got to see what happens now. We got to see what actually happens with this. I mean, they might just decide on a fine. I mean, but a fine's no good. You've really got to hit them where it hurts, and stopping them playing football. It does hurt them, and it stops their careers and stops them making their money. And I think maybe a ban might be the only way.
Yeah, I actually would possibly prefer it, as you've said, if the individual players were banned for some time and replaced with, and some other people came into the team in their place. It's crystal clear, for example, that one of the other players, and supposedly one of the more saner ones who was singing, was the reserve goalkeeper, second goalkeeper Franco Armani of River Plate. Ban him and bring back Sergio Romero. Even if Emi Martinez was involved, and that's the thing about the footage, we still don't completely know if all of the players were singing. I see obviously Enzo's there, Giovanni Lo Celso's dancing, I see Guido Rodriguez, and because of the angle of the camera, you see everything as a sort of a reverse mirror image. So you have to take a look at the numbers to see the players in question. Obviously, you can see Enzo's face, but you see the 16 of Lo Celso reversed, and whichever one you can see, we just we have to find out who else is there. We have to find out who was singing, and if there is an investigation conducted, then we will know the truth. But again, Enzo deserves to be, to be criticized because he was the one who was almost effectively leading everything and taking a video and making an idiot of himself. But you've got to make sure that the other players involved are well known to the public and also punished summarily. And if they are, then it's all well and good. I don't really know if banning an entire nation would necessarily be good. And there have been occasions where some other, teams have been banned. Obviously, Russia have been Russia were banned for a very long time, of course, and I think they are still banned from competition. And you could maybe inside. I go back and forth on this. I agree. Maybe on one extent, it could be setting an example, but then there are going to be some other people who will say that that's a bit too harsh. And there's a wonderful comment here from Chris who says, "How can Alexis McAllister accuse the Europeans of being sensitive, and they still think they did nothing wrong?" And again, that attack from the vice president of Argentina is just gaslighting. Yes, France, like the UK, has a colonial past. But we don't always necessarily hark back to the colonial past all the time. And in the recent elections, of course, France voted against all odds for a far left, tier of government. And they've made it clear that they want to have, that they love immigration, they love diversity and so forth. If that vile hag Le Pen's party had gone into power, then who knows what would have happened. But for Alexis to say that, and he plays his club football with Liverpool and is getting quite a lot of exposure and will also be in the Champions League next season, I think it's absolutely disgusting. And there may not be any amount of education, as you can see from these quotes, that will be enough to get the message into their heads. And that's what's really disappointing. Hanno?
Yeah, no, it is. Like I said, that's why they need to be educated on this. So, yeah. It is.
But also, as a Chelsea fan, would you be supportive of Enzo being actually banned and having his contract ripped up or what have you?
I wouldn't say contracts ripped up. I think so. If I say no, they shouldn't have. I think if you just suspend them like from football for a time, that's fine. Because that teaches them probably 6 months suspension. Teach them. So yeah, teach them. It gives them time to reflect and educate them. So yeah. But yeah, there has to be some sort of punishment, and a fine is not gonna be like a fine. Money isn't like
exactly.
a fine is not gonna do anything to their pockets.
No.
Yeah, it's money they can.
Billionaires, aren't they? Some
yeah, it's money that they can pretty much throw away in tips almost.
Yeah. Yeah. What you were just saying there, Hanno, what I was also thinking was, some of these that have done bad things, players in the past, have had to do community work. I'm just wondering if that might be a thing. They could get these to go out and work in the community, and then they would learn, what they're doing. These other people were with different skin colours and whatever. They'd learn how to work with them properly, and then maybe, they might sort of learn from that and get to, and think about what they're saying. And,
maybe. I think
that could be another thing.
On a education course, then yeah. But also Argentina, they aren't the only country. Let's just get that right. Argentina isn't the only racist country. There's racism all over the world. Spain I know Spain have, I know Portugal probably have as well.
Oh yes, Northside mentioned it on his stream.
And
Definitely a lot
then
of racism in Portugal.
even England have it.
Of course.
And then if I just think Russia, I think Russia also has it. Um, the Germans with their past. So yeah, yeah. If top players are getting abused, things need to change. That's been going on for longer than been alive. Yeah, and still going on. Come on, I have to do something drastic. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Like taking the knee, drastic measures. 10-game ban, a point ban him for a game. Fine him really. All you can do. All teams should have been banned time ago. They're still playing and winning. Very true. Very true. Their government education failed them. This nation has a problem. I'm saying maybe should be a locker room talk with the black friends. Then they can get it on and play as a team. Don't have to be friends, but they are being paid to play.
Oh,
Very
the
true.
locker room talk. I mean, I'm sick of hearing that stuff. That's
Well,
also an even worse excuse in some ways when, Trump said what he said and how that idiot went on to become, president will always and forever be beyond me. And you can say that, as Chris would say, the education system failed everyone back in America.
yeah.
Also, this didn't take place in the UK. It was South America, where their views are different. Yeah, no, it is. I just agree on this on that last part and play. They have to play as a team. Don't have to be friends. They are being paid to play together. They are. So
Yeah.
No, but then the problem is, though, I mean, obviously, it's one thing to say, you should suck it up and play because, you don't. Piers Morgan is always very fond of saying you don't have to, sit around the campfire singing love songs to one another. You just have to make sure you do your business and play. But when it comes to international football, team harmony is important. When you play club football, you're basically playing for a pay packet, yeah. So that whatever happens, you're going to get your dosh, and you can happily go home to your family and forget about. I mean, maybe you can't necessarily forget about everything, but at least you know that you just go ahead and do it. And yet, the more responsible clubs will see it fit to take action. But when it's international football, it's not going to be that easy. And I think Chris said it perfectly, Hanno. There is going to be a huge job for Maresca to do. He's going to have to try to make sure that the players in question are going to put their anger aside, or at least don't let things take away from their main focus. But Steve will remember this when that vile creature John Terry had his racism scandal.
Oh, yeah.
It was there was a huge question as to whether or not all of the of the black players in our team would be willing to play. And there is a conspiracy theory, mind you, that when Roy Hodgson became England manager, Rio Ferdinand was dropped from the squad because he didn't want to play with John Terry. And I think that's absolute sacrilege because I never rated Terry as a defender anyway. But how dare you see it fit to victimize, to sort of make the black player the scapegoat so that, Terry ends up getting in. And I know I'm biased as an Arsenal fan.
He got away with a lot, though, Terry, didn't he? He got away with a hell of a lot, let's be honest.
You bet. And I am biased here, but I will always say that Solskjaer Jeremiah Campbell was everything as a defender and a person that John Terry will never be. I don't know if you necessarily agree with me on that, Steve, but that's my opinion.
Oh, yeah, I do agree, mate. Definitely agree. Yep.
Good old 100%. Sol. he had the rhythm to back it up too. But then that's the thing. You can't just simply expect your teammates to put it to a side. And also, even before the racism scandal, there was that whole infidelity issue, which prompted Wayne Bridge to retire from playing for England. So there is going to be a huge problem, and I think Enzo will have to do some groveling and still be given a bigger slap on the wrist to set an example. That's my thing about it. And Galaxy 20 saying, the Wayne Bridge situation was obviously crazy, and I don't know if you probably won't remember that whole issue with Terry and Wayne Bridge anyway, Hanno, because that was well before your time. But boy, was it horrible.
Yeah.
Yep, Chelsea fans never forgive Terry.
Yeah, David.
That's what I'm saying. Like Harry, sorry, like what Harry's saying there. That's what I mean. Community service. Yeah.
No,
yeah,
absolutely. More quotes from McAllister. It's just a John that got stuck, and is more of a mocking tone than anything else. But as I said, you have to be very careful. I think the most important thing is that Enzo came out, gave the corresponding apologies, and that in the end should be valued.
Disgusting. How dare Alexis say that? And obviously, you talk about Enzo Maresca, but at Liverpool, Arne Slot will probably have to try to deal with the issue himself. There will be, if France could be affected, consider the likes of Cody Gakpo. The Netherlands also have several of their players of, African origin or from elsewhere in the world playing for their nation too. Virgil van Dijk, another, coloured Dutchman. So Alexis is all of these Premiership players when they go back to their clubs will literally have to have a lot of explaining to do.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, one thing I have to say, if the Chelsea squad aren't happy with him and don't accept him back in, then Enzo Fernandez can go for me. He can sell him. I don't care, because we can't have one man ruining the dressing room. So,
yeah, would you get all the money back though? That's the problem, man. I mean, how much did he cost again? It's a lot, wasn't it?
It's one of those things you just write off. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't care about that, do you? It's about the reputation and about the of your team and that. So.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I don't know if there's any last words or anything to add. Any of you guys want to add something?
I'm going to just say further that before we all start before we all start condemning the entire Argentinian team, let's wait for a full investigation, find out who was on the bus, who wasn't on the bus, who was singing, who wasn't singing, and then we will all make our judgments. Okay? There should not be any, trial or verdict by association. This isn't a means of trying to desperately exonerate some players like Messi and Martinez and McAllister or what have you, but it's a means of saying, be prudent with everything and don't just, try to be judge and jury. And Galaxy 20 asking a question, was Messi singing? According to reports, with the final having taken place in Miami, he wasn't on the bus. I think he was given special permission to, stay back in Miami and rest and recuperate with his family. He plays for Inter Miami, don't forget. And Martinez had also posted an Instagram photo of him enjoying himself on holiday in one of the Florida backwaters. So again, there's still so much stuff we don't know. We do know that Enzo is one of the guilty parties, and sooner or later we're going to find out more and more people. And that's why I'm saying that instead of banning the entire team, the individual players should be banned for a few games and then made to realize realize their mistake. And Steve, I'm sure you'd agree with me on that, because Argentina can replace those players. But if Argentina were to be banned immediately, it would come at a huge cost to them, and there's no way that they're going to take that line down.
No, absolutely. You just got to ban the actual players that done it. It's the people that done it, the ringleaders, if you will, that sort of done this, and not the whole team. Yeah, you can't punish the whole team because it wasn't all of them that done it. So, but you got to make an example of the ones that did do it, and put them up there and say, look, this won't be accepted anymore. Really?
Bet. Absolutely. I'm glad you agree with me on that. And I'm not trying to exonerate the whole Argentinian nation. I think ever since, Milei got elected, he now feels as though he can behave the way he likes, and his citizens can also be even more rabidly racist. It's the same thing that happened in America with Trump. And hopefully, in as much as Moss and Molina may not be big fans of Justin Trudeau, I'm sure they can agree with me when they say that Pierre Poilievre should not even get anywhere close to becoming prime minister of that nation. But that's the thing. With all this racism, it's just bringing a whole lot of politics into this. All we can do is just hope that eventually people will start to realize their own mistakes, and they should come cap in hand to people and apologize rather than expecting olive branches from anyone.
Yeah, no, spot on. Galaxy 20, 2-game ban for each player, and I'm fine, happy with that. If it happens again, 10-game ban, be fine. 2-game bans, nah. I think you have to go strong once. You have to go strong the first time.
Maybe 4.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 20.
How about a season ban? How about that? A season?
Oh,
why not?
Boy.
Why not?
Yeah.
So yeah, but
stop them doing it again. They wouldn't do it again, would they? No.
They wouldn't. They wouldn't. Like, hit them on the first time. So yeah, but hopefully we don't have to come back to this or touch the subject ever again. But yeah, we move. Big up everyone. And then yeah, the Mitsubishi channel links are in the title. Go subscribe to him. And my socials links are in the description, people. Nothing happened really. Nothing happened. So yeah, I have to act on it, man. I have to act on it. So yeah, man.
Yeah,
everyone. And then just follow the socials to stay up to date with everything. Then we'll see you all in a bit, people.
Cheers, everyone. Take care. Bye.